Now I cannot be the only one thinking this over the recent developments of video games. Games are releasing at 70 quid and are more often than not worth the price. Now, as of recording this video, it is the launch day of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, I say, yeah, that game is probably worth its 70 quid price tag. But could it be cheaper? Absolutely, most definitely. But I think with the recent success of Helldivers 2 and a lot of other games that are not releasing at the super duper full price of 70 quid, they're still super successful. Now, no, I have no idea what it entails, how much it costs to make a video game, publish, direct, produce, create, etc. No, I do not have any of that. However, I'm fairly certain that most of the expenditure and most of the fat can be trimmed from up above. I got a sneaking suspicion that a lot of people that just sit there and bark orders or basically say we want this to make as much money as possible, so don't use this, don't use that, do that as DLC later, those type of people are paid the most. This, I think, attributes to a lot of EA and Ubisoft and huge developers like that. May not be the case. Again, like I said, I have no insider knowledge, I don't really know, but if I had to take a stab at it, I'd say that that's pretty much what's going down. Now, the developers usually are the ones that they're the ones that get the shit, because they're the ones that get all of the hassle, all of the immense workload, the completely unrealistic deadline to release anything, and basically they just get shit on, essentially, a lot of the time. And I know a lot of the time it's not essentially the developer's fault, it's the people pulling the purse strings. But I think with Helldivers 2 being as successful as it is and launching at 35 quid, yes, you can buy a 50 quid deluxe edition, but that's obviously optional, but then that's still cheaper than 70 quid. I think if games were priced a lot more sensibly, like if their prices dropped back down to like they start releasing games at 35, 40, 45, maybe 50 at the max, I personally think they'd see more sales and less backlash, because 70 quid is a lot of spread, and especially currently in the UK, it's a lot of money because everything here costs an absolute bomb. We're apparently one of the richest countries in the world, yet we're all living pretty much into near poverty. You know, some people living paycheck to paycheck, having no savings, can't get savings, can't buy a house because it's so stupid on buying houses in this country, which is because we're an island, so you know the land is precious, etc. I don't know. Like for what you can buy in America, for example, like there was this advertisement showing houses in Texas which were essentially mansions compared to what we have here, and the equivalent in money is you buy a tiny little 2-bedroomed terraced house in the UK, or you can buy like a 5-bed detached house with swimming pool and land and etc. Over in America. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. But I personally do not think games need to be 70 quid. I think it's greed. There's always some big CEO or someone in a suit who probably has played no video game in their life, who always says, no, it costs so much money to make. But does it? Does it really? Or are you taking a massive fat wad of money off the top? Like, don't forget, that's the only reason Cyberpunk released in the state it did back in 2020, was because the investors wanted like a bonus or something just before Christmas. That's the real reason that game was dropped so early. And the game suffered for it in a way, but has recovered because of the efforts of the developers, the people actually making the game. I do not think games need to be 70 quid, and I also, as a side note, I think it takes far too long for games to be developed now. What's that all about? Why is it taking so long? Like, especially if you're having a video game series. If it's a one-off game and you're working on it to make it absolutely super perfect and then move on to a completely different project, okay, I get it. But when, like, for example, Spider-Man, which came out... When did Spider-Man come out on PS4? 2018? Was it? And then the sequel to that didn't come out until, like, the tail end of last year, of 2023. That's far too long for a sequel. If you're going to be making sequels to a game, it can be no... For me, personally, it should be, like, 18 months, tops. And if you can't... I have no idea what goes on, but... You know, and obviously I don't want the crunch, I don't want people working stupid hours and whatnot, but surely we can do better than 5 years between an entry in a video game series. Surely. you know, that can be arranged and can be done. And just by trimming that fat off of the top of the bigwigs who do sod all really for the gaming industry besides ruin it. I know Ubisoft are banging out quadruple A titles, like Skull and Bones at the minute. A full 70 price game, mind you, has well, Skull and Bones is Skull and Bones. I personally don't like it. I tried it. If you enjoy it, I'm not shitting on you. Please go enjoy the game. All the more power to you. That's cool. But for me, that game is not worth 70 quid. I'm 35 going on 36. I've been playing games since 1990. I was like 3 years old. And I've played many a great game. I've played many a wank game. And Skull and Bones is pretty much in between pretty much in between a good game and a wank game. It's alright. You know, it's alright. But please let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that games should be cheaper? And essentially something to be done to decrease the time. I know games take I know with everything, games, music, films, books, everything, it's finished when it's finished, and I get that, but I mean, why is it taking so long? You know, it just blows my mind. Games used to be turned around really fast back in the 360 days and the PS3 days and the PS2, and you know, games were turned around pretty quickly. I would take a stylistic, really well-made, polished game, jam-packed with content and replayability, priced at 35 quid, over a super-duper, lifelike, amazing, ray tracing, yada yada, blah blah blah. Because we all know it never really actually works the way they intended. We're still, in this day and age, having performance mode and quality mode. But I would much rather take something that's not as graphically, intense, over something that is, but lacks a lot of substance. But that's just me personally. Please let me know in the comments what you think. And as always, thank you very much for watching.
Reinforcing!